Hello guys, and welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to be making the, if you saw in my community tab, we're going to be making the thing inspired fingerless mitts. And as you can see here, we're going to start with a slip knot and we're going to chain. So what you're going to do is chain. If you take the measurement of your wrist, just chain however many that is. Roughly it's going to be between 30 and 34 chains for this pattern to work. So I'm just crocheting the chains, and I'm only doing a small version for the purpose of the tutorial. I'm also using a different yarn than I normally would use, but as you can see here, I'm just chaining up those chains, and then that's going to give us our foundation to start making the cuff of the fingerless mitts. So we're just going to continue to chain here. And when you get the desired amount, then you're going to go back and you're going to start putting, we're going to do the single crochet ribbing. So you go back and do the second chain from the hook, put a single crochet, and then crochet all the way down. When you reach the end, you're going to go back, which you'll see here in a second. You're going to go back, and except you're only going to work in the back loops only, and in a few minutes I point that out. Trying a little bit different recording style today, just testing things out, seeing which way I like. So I hope you'll bear with me. And here you see I finished the chain row. So now we're going to chain one as our turning chain, which does not count as a stitch. And then you're going to do a single crochet into the back loops, which is I'm going to demonstrate here. And what you want is those two loops on the top. You want the back one, and you're only going to work in those only. And when you go back and forth with the colors, that will create the ribbing. And you can use different types of yarn to get the colored, the black and white like I showed in the example, or just solid color, whichever you'd prefer. Now for the tutorial, I'm just doing the solid color because it just makes it easier than having to stop and have a bunch of weaved ends when you're trying to do a tutorial. It just works out better this way. So as you can see here, I'm just going through, working in the back loops only, and making sure I only get that back loop, because otherwise it won't work out the way you want it to. And the way I did mine on when I switched the colors on the example, for the black and white, I did two rows of black and then 2 rows of white, and then I just alternated that until I got to the length of chains, or the length of that I needed, which is again, you're just going to wrap it around your wrist to make sure it goes around nicely. I believe that worked out to about, yeah, see I'm showing you right here the black and white ribbing. That's 2 by 2, and then I just went and I did 30. I think for this one I did 32 rows, but for the example I'm not sure if I did 30. I can't remember now. But you're just going to go however many rows that you've decided will fit your wrist, between 30 and 34 rows. And I apologize, earlier I had stated 30 chains. You're actually only going to do like 10 chains to start this ribbing. So that's my apologies, and I'll make sure I note that earlier in the video. But you're just going to continue to work here. Like I said, the reason why I did the 2 by 2 with the separated colors is because then when you are carrying, because I carried my yarn on the side, so when I carried it on the side, it worked out so that at the end, when I show you here in a minute how to close up the cuff, I then work off the end where the carried yarn is, so and essentially it will get buried in the first row of the round when we start making the base, or the main part of the fingerless mitt. So that's why I did that, because doing 2 by 2 allowed me to end once I worked my way up from the closure to start working on that end, and then it covered up all the ugly, and I didn't have to do any other stitching. And like I said before, if you guys like this video, please like and subscribe. Share it with your friends if you if you have friends that like to crochet and just like to come and hang out. I got a lot of new stuff coming for the channel. I've been working on a tutorial. Well, not really. It's really a tutorial slash explanation about a book club that I'm excited about. And I've been working on the pattern for that. And because we are an all, a channel where I like to do all crafts, because I personally like to do all crafts, we are also going to be exploring plastic canvas, which is another form of using yarn, and it's kind of like, if you know anything about cross stitching, it's basically it's just a plastic mesh that you're going to sew through. Most of you probably already know what plastic canvas is, but for those of you that don't, it's a plastic mesh that you can sew and put and stitch on and make all kinds of things like coasters and baskets and things like that. So we'll get into that in the future, and I have a few other things lined up for the channel. And as you can see here, I'm just showing you, I'm just doing one by one. Obviously, I'm only doing one color, so it's one by one, but the reason why I said 2 by 2 before is because it's 2 rows of black and 2 rows of white. But again, you can use whichever yarn combination you like, but I wanted to stick with the Wednesday theme, so I went with the black and white on the cuff. So like I said, don't forget to hit that subscribe button so that you get all the notifications when I upload my latest videos. I know other channels I watch, their followers and subscribers have been having issue getting notifications, but when you hit the subscribe button, it'll ask you if you want to turn on notifications, and if you hit no, it won't notify you or any of the YouTubers. It won't notify you when your favorite YouTubers' videos are being uploaded, so if you remember to turn on those notifications, I'm bad for that. I also, I don't like a lot of things dinging on my phone, so I have mine turned off, but I would appreciate it if you wanted to know when I uploaded that you turned yours on, but I understand completely if you don't want to. So here I am just continuing with this back loop ribbing. Alright, now that we've completed that montage of me crocheting really quickly, I wish I could crochet that quickly, I'm showing you here how to attach the two ends so that you can close up the cuff. You're just going to line up both sides. Like I said, I worked it out so that and if you need to, you can do an extra row, but you want to work it so that you end on when you're done closing it up, you end on the side that you had your, like I said, if you use more than one color, you'd want to be on the end that has those ugly tails so that you can cover them up. But you're just literally going to line up the holes, and I'm just using a slip stitch, simple and easy to just close it up real quick. And then when we get to the end, then we're going to be working in the ends of all of your rows, and the number will differ depending on how many rows you decided to do. For the tutorial purposes, I don't have the exact amount, but it was like 20 or something like that. But you're going to work on the ends. And I'm just showing you here the difference and showing you how it's worked up and how it's closed shut. So we're going to work on the ends, and you're just going to put a stitch in every end of every row. I'm showing you here, trying to find, it's a little bit tricky because of the ribbing to see, but if you look carefully you can see the ends there, and you just want to stick one stitch in the end of each row. And you're going to do a single crochet for this row. And I believe I forgot to mention this earlier, but I used a smaller hook size for the cuff because I wanted mine to fit kind of snug. And then I bumped up 2 sizes for the fingerless, or the main part of the fingerless mitt, which I will be posting to my shop a pattern for this tutorial. So if you'd like the written pattern, it will be there. I don't have it written out yet, but I will soon. I will post on the community tab when that is available, and I'll put a link to that in this description box here so you can find it there. But you're just going to put a single crochet in the end of each of the rows. Careful not to put 2 in one, because once you want, if you had, for example, if you had 30 rows of the ribbing, then you want to make sure that you have 30 stitches, and you want that to stay the same all the way around. It's a fairly easy pattern, not too much, decreasing and all that kind of stuff. When you get all the way down around to the end of the round, this is the first round of the main, we're going to use a stitch marker and mark our beginning stitch, because what we're going to do now is do half double crochets, and we're going to do a chain 1 just to gain height, and then we're going to put a half double crochet in the same stitch as your chain, or I'm sorry, the same stitch as your slip stitch, because you're going to slip stitch all the rows together. And now we're going to place a stitch marker in that first stitch. It can be a little bit fiddly there, so I'd take my hook out. But we're just going to, like I said, half double crochets from now here on out, and we're going to put one in that first stitch, and now you're going to go around in those single crochets that you made and put a half double crochet in every one of those single crochets. And just following around there. Alright, so now we're coming to the end of round 2, and we're going to go ahead and slip stitch to that beginning first the half double crochet. I don't know where my brain is today. We're going to slip stitch to that beginning half double crochet, and then we're going to chain 1, and then we're going to do that on every round, chain 1, and then hydro crochet. I don't know what the heck that is. Half double crochet into that same stitch, and then continue around, and you're going to do that for 7 rounds. So when you have a total of 7 rounds, then you are going to be done with the main part, and then you're going to be doing the row with the thumb. So you want to do this for a total of 7 rounds, and that includes the original single crochet row. So you're going to have the 1 round of single crochet, and then 6 rounds of the half double crochets, and then you're going to, after that, we're going to work the thumb hole round, and then after that you'll just do as many rounds as you prefer and have it come down as low as you want it on your fingers. And it's really that's it. That's the simple pattern that we're doing here. And of course, you'll add the embellishments at the end. But yeah, we're just going to half double crochet all the way around until you have 7 rounds. Alright, now we are going to start the thumb hole. So I counted over 5 spaces to the right, and this would be for the right hand. So on the left hand, when you're doing the left hand, you're going to want to count over 5 from the left. So for the right hand glove, you're going to continue like you always do your half double crochet and then continue around, and then you're going to skip the last 5 stitches with making 5 chains, and then slip stitch to the beginning of the beginning half double. On the left hand, you'll do the same thing, except in the beginning you will chain 1 and then you will make your half double for the first stitch. That way we have an anchor stitch, and then skip the second 5 stitches. So it'd be, you have your first half double and then you skip the next 5, and then you'd start your half doubles all the way around and then slip stitch to the beginning. So that's the difference between the left and the right glove. You always, depending on which side you're doing, just remember that if you're doing the left glove, you would start with the first half double crochet and then you would skip the next 5 and then do your half doubles all the way around. If you're doing the right side like we are here, you're going to do your half doubles all the way around until you get to your marked 5 stitches that you counted over to the right, and skip those by chaining 5 and then slip stitching to the beginning half double crochet. And then after that, you see here after I connect it, you're just going to continue now doing your half doubles. And this is where I was saying, now you're just going to do half doubles until you decide how many you need, how many rows you need, that you, the way you like it on your hand. So I would suggest constantly trying it on. Now I couldn't do that for the example piece because that's way smaller than my hand. But when I was making the original, I continued to just try it on and see where it fit on my hand and make adjustments as I needed. But for the most part, this is the basic idea. One size fits most type of idea, but there are ways to adjust it. Like I said in the beginning with the cuff, you just want to measure around your wrist and see how many rows you would need depending on how big your wrist is. So if I did, like I said, I did 32 rows and it felt good. But you can do any, I found that between 30 and 34 rows are a pretty good cuff size. So like I said, we're just going to continue around making those half double crochets. Don't forget when you come around that you're going to have those 5 chained row stitches that you made to skip for the thumb. And I'm just showing you here a close-up of those chains to make sure you get each one. And then we will just proceed with the half double crochets all the way around. And here is the finished product, and you can see I had the black and white on the ribbing, and then I used a fleshed colored because I thought it would give it more of the Thing vibe, you know, because he's just a hand with flesh. And I thought it would be cool because then you can customize it to the different skin tones and things like that. And then you just take a tapestry needle or a yarn needle and get you some yarn, and you can stick your stitches in anywhere you would like. Again, this is my adaptation of the Wednesday series. I can't remember if in the movies and in the original Addams Family if the Thing had stitches, but in this one he does. So I went ahead and I added those, and I hope you enjoyed this tutorial and check back often, and I hope to see you soon. What is in your craft room today?